I'm good. My name's Ellie, and I'll be your nurse today. And I was wondering if we could talk a little bit about your smoking.
All right, sure.
Yeah, does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
All right. So when did you start smoking?
Oh, wow. I've been smoking for about 7, going on 8 years now.
Wow. So when did you start?
Oh, I started at about age 17. 17, I bought my first, well, I didn't actually go in the store and bought it, but when I first started smoking, I would just, get people cigarettes or hit other people's cigarettes. But I started, trying to buy my own at about the age of
Gotcha. So that's when it really became more of a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So was there any particular reason you started?
Well, my parents always smoked, so I was always around it. It didn't seem like such a big deal to me. And then friends would smoke, and so I was just always around cigarettes to where I could hit other people's or smoke with others. And it just became to a point where I felt like I would say first I wanted it. It was a social thing, and then it started becoming to where I needed it. Like I would notice, I need a cigarette right now. It just
Gotcha.
became a habit over time.
That makes sense. So, have you ever tried to quit before?
I have. I've actually tried to quit a lot.
Yeah.
I've been on different medications. I've tried the patch. I've even tried the chewing gum. I didn't like the gum much. The patch didn't seem effective. Cold turkey. It never worked. I have done it to where I gradually, smoked less. And I do notice that when I'm like eating healthy and working out, I tend to smoke less. But the longest I've went without smoking is 3 months.
Wow.
And so it seemed like forever to me.
Yeah. And what kind of brought you back to starting again?
Just stressors mainly, or mainly stressors.
Yeah.
Just having the urge.
Yeah. What are some of the main stressors that bring you to smoking?
Well, work is a big one. After a long day of work, it's kind of, you get in your car and you get a feeling like I need it. And then I tried to do like a cleansing of my house and my car, because everything smelled like cigarettes, so it would make me want a cigarette. My mom, her health has been up and down, and caring for her and taking care of my responsibilities can be stressful.
Yeah, and that does sound like you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I could see why you'd want something to alleviate that.
Yeah.
So do you get, you said you get urges to smoke sometimes. What, is it the stressors that cause that, or is there like something that triggers it more?
Mostly I would say stressors trigger it. Once I'm trying to stop, stressors is what usually gets me back started. But after that, it's a part of my routine. Like wake up in the morning, coffee and a cigarette, or lunch break that just signifies smoke break, or in certain times of the day where I'm used to having a cigarette, so I'll have one. Or hanging out with my friends who also smoke. It's hard to be around it and not partake in it.
Yeah. That makes sense. That can definitely, with the whole social aspect, can make it pretty hard to not do it and just make it easier to want to, I guess. And how much do you smoke a day, would you say?
I probably smoke a half a pack a day.
Gotcha.
Which is just quite a bit, but I've been at a time where I was going through about a pack a day. So.
Wow.
But a half a pack is about one.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, I really think that because of what you're telling me with half a pack a day is a lot, and really just any cigarette use is not really good for your health. So because of that, I wanted to maybe talk to you about considering quitting. Is that something we could talk about? And it's just the safety of it. It seems like it's posing a risk to your health. Is that something we could talk about more?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you say is your readiness to quit?
Oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah, I would say on like a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think is like your readiness to want to quit?
1 being the least ready, 10 being the most.
guess?
I would say I'm about a 6.
A 6, okay. And so why would you say a 6 and not a 5, not a 7?
Well, not a 7 because as much as I'm ready, I'll be honest, I have a pack in my car right now that even talking about this is kind of making me want to go smoke. And then, but in regards to my health, that's really why I want to stop smoking, because I know that it's not healthy for me. I don't exactly know, I know people say it causes cancer, and I just don't want any of those type of risks that come with it.
Yeah, so maybe we could talk about some of the pros and cons of smoking. Like, what are some cons you think of?
My health, number one. I know that my kids, they don't like it. They're little. They'll come home with little like informationals and packets like, "Mom, you need to quit smoking. You can do this and that," and so that makes me feel bad. Not as a mother, but just as a person that my own children are telling me to stop. And that's when I really realized this is an addiction. A lot of people just look at other harder drugs like an addiction, but this is too. It's expensive. I spend about $30 a week on like cigarettes, and it smells bad. That's another thing my children are saying, like, our clothes smell like, people say that our clothes smell like cigarettes. And so.
It does, smoking definitely causes a big risk to your health. It's the leading cause of lung cancer, which is one of the more deadly cancers because it's harder to catch. The symptoms don't really show up right away, and so smoking definitely can lead to that. Also, gum cancer is something that it can really lead to, and overall just it's not good for your health. It ages you, it's not good for your skin, it makes you just like look a lot older, but most of all is like the cancer and just other respiratory problems it can lead to. And not only you, but but the people around you as well, is like it could affect their health with secondhand smoke. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Yeah, I have. So that's like it's true that it's harmful.
Yeah, it is harmful to the people that are around people around smoke, even if they're not the ones doing it. Yeah, and you talked about your the way it smells and that your kids really don't want you to do it. Yeah, I know it's a lot of times when your kids don't want you, it's maybe not the best thing. But what are some pros? You think there's obviously reasons that you do it?
Well, yeah, it's not only is it habit, but it just helps calm me. It's kind of like a time where I can just either have a cigarette by myself and calm my nerves and things, or with a friend or a social gathering. It's one of the main times that I smoke, like back to back. Like chain smoking is when I'm with a group of people and we're kind of just talking and smoking.
Yeah.
And so outside of calming my nerves and being social, there's really no other benefit from it.
Gotcha. Yeah, so looking at kind of comparing the pros and cons, what do you think?
I think there's more cons and more serious consequences with the cons than the pros.
How does that change your opinion at all?
Yeah, it does. Just talking about these things aloud, because you think about them, you know them, but you don't ever just say them and really register it. It would easily take my 6 to an 8.
An 8.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's really good. I'm glad it's good when people are kind of realizing that they need to, and that it is, especially hearing about loved ones, that it could be harmful to them as well. So I'm glad, because that could mean you're a little more ready.
I want to be realistic with myself. I don't want to sit in here and say, yeah, I'm done, because it's hard.
Yeah, we could definitely come up with a plan, and like we're here for you. We're here for your health and for your well-being, and so we'd love to meet with you again and talk about some goals and like reaching those goals. Would you want to do that?
Yes.
Cool. And if you were to want to quit, when do you think would be like a realistic time? I've heard there's been research that when people like set up a date that they're like, I'm gonna quit by this date, it like really helps them to like actually stick to it. Is that something you'd be interested in thinking about?
Yeah, I always thought it was cool to have like an anniversary. I stopped this day.
Yeah.
I do have some big events coming up. My birthday's actually in April, so that will be a good time to just stop.
By your birthday? Yeah, then it would be the anniversary of your birthday and the day you quit smoking. So what day is it?
April 18th.
Cool. That would be a good day to have. And yeah, I think, so would you want to do that?
Yeah.
Say that day by that time? All right.
That sounds like an achievable goal.
Great, I think so too. I think so. So yeah, we'll get something set up to come back and talk again and see how things are going and talk about more goals as we go along. But thanks for talking to me.
All right. Thank you, Ms.
Appreciate it.
Ellie.
Yeah, you're